Check 1 2 1 2 check. Check 1 2 1 2 check.
Call me a fake, calling me anything. Make a mistake, tell me what you should hear. I am a sucker for rapture, reading lines with nothing new to say. Leaving me sucking for nectar. Our branches don't bear anything. Call it a break, I'm calling it everything. Make a mistake, telling me you aren't here. I am a sucker for rapture, reading lines with nothing new to say. Leaving me sucking for nectar. Our branches don't bear anything. For rapture, reading lines with nothing new to say. Reading minds with nothing new to say.
What's up, Ken? Oh my god, can you believe it? For once, everything seems to not be horribly broken at the top of one of these streams, and it's the first try. I can only attribute our current lack of abject failure to one of three things. One, the completely overdone lighting that we are leaning into for this stream. I just bought some $40 lights on Amazon, and I am leaning all the way the hell into it. Originally, it was just going to be like blue and red on each side of my face and super dark with just one spotlight on the pedal board. But I figured that might get tiring for a stream that is largely me drinking whiskey and talking to people. So, possible reason that the stream hasn't failed, number one, the gods have smiled on my lighting. Possible reason number two, I'm trying a new thing where I start the stream unlisted, test my audio, and then start the stream. And so maybe it's just one of those, like, the universe respects the caution. And possibility number three, I'm doing the hair tied up Andy Offling thing, and the universe does not fuck with Andy. But yeah, we're doing this stream with a purpose. Actually, I kind of decided that I wanted to do a few specific things going into this one. I wanted to kind of talk through this PRS a little bit as people kind of join in and hang out. Oh yeah, we should talk the whiskey too. Tonight, I'm gonna have to get a refill. Jesus Christ, I'm like halfway through already. This is Suntory whiskey. It's a Japanese whiskey. It's very light. It's a little lighter than I would traditionally go with. I'm more of a Scotch person, but my wife and I are balling on a budget right now, trying to get a massive housing remodel knocked out. And so so I'm not touching my like nice scotches right now. I'm only touching the stuff that we already had on hand when we realized just how horrifically broke we were trying to finish this house. Speaking of, I think I have donations enabled now on the chat, and there's a possibility that if you do that, it'll pop up on the screen. I don't know if that'll happen or not. It might. So if you donate and nothing shows up, I can give you a refund if you want. I don't know. I'll refund your Patreon for the month if you do a donation and you're disappointed by the fact that my stream doesn't work yet. I'm working on it. I'm trying to build up. Dude, Suntory is no joke. It's good whiskey. I cut my teeth on Japanese whiskey. That was like kind of my first real love in the whiskey world. It was how I found my way in past cocktails, and really how I found my way to Scotch, which is the really important thing in my mind, because nothing is better than like Macallan 12. Oh, I should start listing my signal chain in the doobly-doo, as the Vlogbrothers would call it. Oh, but yeah, so we're talking two main things tonight. One, I don't have an adequate spot to like talk through something like how freaking great this PRS is and kind of like what my history with it is. And then we also have on loan from a friend of mine, the Old Blood Noise Endeavors Dweller. And this is a fun stream if we want to talk Dweller, because I don't know almost anything about this pedal. I've never looked at the manual. I got it 2 days ago, and I have spent less than 2 minutes with it because for those of you who are here, today I finished filming, I should say. I finished filming my microcosm review. I shouldn't call it a review. I should call it a demo. Hologram reached out to me and asked me if I would do a video, and offered to kind of sponsor a video on the microcosm. We're not calling it a review because even in my conversation with them, they were like, "We don't need you to review it. We just want you to demonstrate how you use it." And so I tried my best to kind of be impartial. I have a hard time separating out my opinion on stuff, because if you've watched my videos, I think you just know that I'm a very overly enthusiastic human being. When it comes to talking about guitar pedals, not as an actual human being. I'm actually very like one note. But the hell was I talking about? Yeah, it's like 3 hours of footage that I have to comb through for the microcosm video, which is going to be a nightmare. But the Dweller was loaned out to me, and this is fun because I have no freaking clue how it works. I just know that it's really fun, and I've spent less than 5 minutes with it. So this stream can be a time where we figure out what the hell the Dweller is. I wish I didn't do these like late night streams so late. I realize it's only like 9:30, but it's 9:30 on a Friday, and like, you know, if it was up to me, we'd throw Dan, we'd throw Dan from Old Blood into the stream so he could talk me through it. But I don't plan like that, dude. A thing worked. Hold on, is it gonna pop up in the stream? I haven't. It works. It's also very loud, but it works. The thing actually happened. Oh my god, I can't even believe it. I cannot. First of all, I should say mostly thank you. Like, that's really, really kind of you. I've been trying to get these streams a little more like set in stone, and I want to build out a schedule so that we can actually like do these and people can kind of like hang out. But dude, that was really kind of you. That's, by the way, that's literally the first like stream donation thing. That's the first thing I've ever gotten for doing this stuff outside of like YouTube ad revenue and like sponsored videos. So I guess I should say, and my Patreon. So thank you to my patrons, seriously. But really cool. Theoretically, something should pop up for like the donate thing at the top. I don't know where it is. I don't know. There should be a, oh, maybe I didn't integrate it yet. There will be a thing that kind of like hangs out in the top center, I think. I guess starting in the next stream, because I have tried to add things to my OBS while it's running, and that is a dangerous proposition. But it's the kind of thing that will they'll kind of do like the little ticker tape at the top that will kind of like show top donors, which is really cool. I thought I did it, but I guess I hadn't yet. I think it was on my list with like some like Autobots and you know what I mean by Autobots, not like the Transformers, but the like Andy's Nightbot, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, sorry, I see it in the live chat area, which is super cool. I was saying that I thought I had set something up in OBS that would kind of hang out in the top center as like a little ticker tape, but we will figure it out. Oh yeah, no, Daniel, I agree with you. Decepticons are objectively more interesting. Probably better designed too. Although Starscream's got a little bit of an excessive voice. By the way, the Dweller. Let's turn it off for a second. I don't know how it works, but like just from some like 30 seconds of twisting some knobs earlier today, I landed on this. Listen to this. And then Dweller. It's so cool. I'm gonna need everybody who's in this chat to join me in a concerted effort to start bullying Old Blood and Dan specifically into making a stereo version of that, because if you could just get two, kind of like how Mr. Black does the Supermoon, where he basically has two, or the Supermoon Deluxe Chrome, whatever the crap it's called, where you basically have two separate Supermoons as completely independent reverb channels on the left and right. And one of them, and basically the way that he makes it really wide sounding, aside from it just being two channels, is he has it set up so that the modulation rises on one channel while it's falling on the other. And no. Old Blood's never done anything in stereo. I don't think they have any plans to. However, if they were going to, this is the thing. You set up a Dweller where that phase, like the waveform of the phaser, left channel's always rising, or like when the left channel's rising, the right channel's falling, and when the right channel's rising, the left channel's falling. That's basically how Mr. Black does his like crazy wide, true stereo reverb pedal. And I am sure it's not that not that simple to implement that into something as insane as the Dweller. But I'm so obsessed with like the first three sounds I found in the Dweller that I really want him to make a stereo one. Oh God, we're gonna run out of whiskey so fast. I should have brought the bottle in here. That would be a fun. Then we could make it like a drinking game. Like donations could go towards refills and/or just like chugging it. I don't work tomorrow. It's fine. I absolutely work tomorrow. I have to be up at like 5 a.m. Which is why we started the stream at like 9:30 for once instead of 11. We're shifting that monitor over because I've got an iPad down here so I can look at comments, but it's much easier to check the comments on the thing that has all my stream analytics and everything. Okay, my only note on the Dweller, the mix is in a weird spot. You see this red light we have over here? We're getting meta here. So this is with no red light. This might actually look slightly like better. But man, the red's cool. Dude, Jordan, all of this is just because like your like throwaway once every 6 month Instagram videos always look better than mine do, and I'm always offended by that. What was it? You did the video where you did the cover of New Shampoo's song, and it looked, in my mind, it looked better than anything that I have made in the last 2 years, and it upset me deeply, which is why I've invested in lights, because I'm jealous of you and I hate you. Love you. Let's turn that rate down. Dude. All I want to do is work on some like can we just do an EP together? I know you just sold all your drums, but like we could do like a weird like lo-fi thrashy thing. It'd be like reverby noise rock, and also like only the good bits of like old like mid career Brand New and early career Under Oath. It'd be great. Okay, let's talk about this guitar a little bit. This was my first ever #1 guitar. This is the kind of guitar you buy when you were born in '88, and all of your first favorite bands were like Linkin Park and Pillar and Limp Bizkit, and like you were into nothing more than all of the new metal stuff, and you just wanted to be Brad Delson from Linkin Park so bad. The internet was early, you didn't know what you were doing. I remember Googling, trying to figure out why Brad Delson was wearing headphones on stage, because I couldn't understand what he was doing. But all I knew was I loved Chevelle and Linkin Park and all those bands, and I knew that Paul Reed Smiths were like the coolest guitars. And when I was 18, I bought this Custom 22. I almost bought for more money a Custom 22 in a like whale blue flame top with a stained blue back. And a buddy of mine, I'm not going to name drop him because that would be douchey, talked me out of it and talked me into this gold top instead. And this is the 20th anniversary, so it's got like the birds in flight thing. So instead of those very static birds that you see on a lot of the Paul Reed Smiths, this has like some of the lines that run along them, and they kind of like swoop along the neck. It's all very overwrought and unnecessary. However, this guitar was like my #1. At the time I was playing a lot of like rhythm guitar. I wasn't really like a lead player, and this thing had like that big sound. It had Dragon 2 pickups in it, which are terrible and they're dark and I don't like them. But I freaking loved this guitar. And then I was given a set of DiMarzio Virtual Vintage. No, sorry, not the Virtual Vintage. DiMarzio 34th Anniversary PAFs. Like Les Paul pickups, like low output, low wound, early style Les Paul pickups from a buddy of mine. And I put them in this guitar. And it was around the time that it already kind of made the switch to being like pretty heavily a Fender guy. And I just, and I didn't know anything about like guitar teching and stuff. And I just like put them in myself with a buddy of mine, one of my close friends who like was a mechanic and had like a soldering iron, but like didn't know anything about instruments, and I didn't know anything about the insides of instruments. And we like tried to wire the pickups up with like the 5-way rotary that this guitar had at the time. And it was never the same ever again. This guitar just kind of like became kind of weird. And like there wasn't a lot of nuance in it anymore. And I used it for one more project. I was in a post-hardcore band with a roommate of mine at the time. And I put 13s on this thing. And I played in dropped C sharp, and I played in a post-hardcore band where I was screaming and playing some guitar and playing this guitar, and it was the last time I used this on anything. And that must have been early mid-20s, something close to a decade ago. This guitar has not been like one of my go-tos for nearly a decade. It was my favorite guitar from 18 to my early 20s, and then it just completely fell out of favor. It was covered in dust. It was never in tune. It got relegated, and it was a bummer. Buddy of mine that I've gotten to be pretty good friends with here in SAC, named Def Santiago. He's a PRS guy. He had a guitar break at a gig I was mixing for and filming for several months back, and we offered to pay for the repairs on it, and we got to talking about his 2 PRSs that are his like main guitars that he plays, and over the course of just his friendship, I learned that he likes friendship. 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 I learned that he likes Is it working? Oh my God, did we fix it? Did we actually successfully fix it without destroying everything? Oh my God, we did. We're invincible. We're completely unstoppable at this point. I just need to set up something so that like elevator music plays on that technical difficulties page. Which, by the way, do you like that I made a technical difficulties page because of this stupid thing? I told you it's contagious. I told Andy about this freaking loopback problem, and now he got it too. Son Okay, we're alive. Thank God. Okay, I think everything's good. Where was I? We were talking about the guitar. That's right. Okay. Is it happening again? No, we're good. There we go. Yeah, it looks like streaming audio is working fine. Okay, so we're... So yeah, I don't know where I was in the story when all the audio exploded. But yeah, so my buddy Def, he went in and he just kind of like, he did a total workover on this. We've got a coil tap in the neck now. We've got the 3-way switch. He set it up so that it just plays amazing. Like it's like, this feels like a guitar I've never owned before. Like it feels incredible. And like the coil tap thing was his suggestion and it's genius. Video's 5 seconds behind audio. That's a trip. Let me check on mine. Check 1 2 1 2. This is enthralling. God, you're right. The audio is like way out of sync. What on earth? I was so cocky that we like managed to not break everything, and now we're just like, and now we have like an audio sync issue. Let me see what happens if we do this. We make the jump, we come back, maybe we're working now. No, it's still out of sync. Oh, let's try this. Bring console back. Are we still out of sync? Oh God. All right. Well. Best laid plans. Anyway, so yeah, we'll keep talking. I mean, here's the good news. I have enough facial hair right now that you can barely tell when my mouth is moving. And if I do the full wet thing on the microcosm, you can never tell what the hell I'm playing anyways. So it all shakes out. I wonder if it's just like self-correct or if it's like fundamentally broken. Okay, I think we may be able to fix it. But the stream is gonna like, it's not gonna die, so like don't go anywhere. But it's gonna do the like, oh God, you're not getting any info to the stream for a second. I'm just gonna reset OBS and see if that fixes it. Oh, hold on, somebody's got saying that it's in sync. That is not in sync for me. I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna exit and re to the stream. No, okay, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Okay, we should be back. Are we still living? Please still be working. I think we're good. I think we're here. All right, we're back. Yeah, I don't think that fixed it, which is very, very bizarre. All right, whatever. Let's just roll. We're gonna press on. We're spending officially too much time trying to figure out why my thing is stupid. But I do need to mute that iPod or that iPad audio send. Yeah, so this guitar, it just kind of like let's turn off the dweller. We'll turn down the loop level a little bit. Where's a guitar pick? I've got a guitar pick around here somewhere. There's no way of being able to figure out tech issues on the fly. It is such a nightmare. Streaming is so bizarrely difficult. How many guitar picks do I have in my pocket that are not the actual pick I want? Ooh, that's not even remotely in tune. This stream just went from like so good to so not good in like a matter of seconds. Here we go. I must have knocked the tuning peg at some point while we were frantically trying to fix crap. There it is. But yeah, so the pickups in this thing now are amazing, and it's a trip because like the bridge sounds great. It's kind of a trip because the neck is actually like pretty boomy. He's got the pickup dropped super far to kind of try to compensate it, but it's still like. Enter the best thing in the world, the coil tap. So it's and which brings us back to all of my favorite guitars in the world all require me to be able to play in like a middle position. And if I go back to that really kind of like slightly too boomy, and then in that middle, and then go to the middle position, and then coil tap that neck. And that right there, like, no coil tap, coil tap, I love it. This guitar is so good. It's phenomenal. So let me catch up on comments here. Between the unit and the WAMP, which makes the bigger difference? I mean, I'm gonna say that I think the Una is kind of the move if you're gonna get one of the two. Depends on what you need, obviously. Like if you've got like a Petty John lift or something that you like as your first in chain that you don't want to move, then maybe it's not the move. Maybe it's not like the buy for you. But I'm a really big fan of the Una and the WAMP, honestly. But like, I guess I can do this to showcase the difference. Is here's with both turned on. Here's without the Una. So again, Una. No Una. And then, and that's with the wamps turned on. And then with wamps, and without. And with them on. So they both do the thing. They both have an impact. I tend to actually set my wamps pretty. It's so hard to say that word with a straight face. It's not a good name. I love. They're great pedals, but like, it's a tough one for me. I happen to think that they're both really high value, but the way that I set my Una is pretty. I mean, as you heard, is pretty crucial. Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, I could just say like get both, because here's with both of them. And here's with none of them. And then here's with them back. That's awesome. Ken, first of all, thank you. Second of all, yeah, I mean, Jesse's one dude down in Silver Lake making these things. I am glad to see that he's doing as well as he is. I think he's killing it. I mean, as you can tell, he's killing it because he's got like a pretty decent lead time on his pedals. John Mayer's using them, and he's not really like telling people that he's using them. Like, dude's making some really high quality stuff right now, and I really love the Una. Turning the low switch actually off on the 29 is pretty, like just using the harmonic on the PRS is actually pretty helpful, especially with like that neck pickup stuff. Like with that low switch on, it's rich. There's something about like the low frequencies that Jesse picked that is great, but with humbuckers like this, turning it off, like if I was trying to like write parts that had like a really present bass tone on it, this might be the move. Whereas like that harmonics, so without the harmonics, and then with it, I also feel like the Una is even more high value on single coils, which is something that I've talked about a lot on some other streams when I've been playing like my my Mustang that's right over there. Let's bring that dweller back in. The dweller ratchets up so fast, it's so good. Okay, let's kill our microcosm and our volante for a second. I want to play with the dweller a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out what the rate does. Oh, it goes with the depth. So those are part of the actual like phaser. So if we crank both of those. Ooh, okay. Oh yeah, dude. Nothing looks as good as a gold top looks. Like, so if I take that depth all the way down. Okay, so stretch is time. Ah, there it is. There's the phaser. Yeah, by the way, this is what we're doing on stream right now. It's just me learning how to use Old Blood's phaser. Ooh. Oh, that's gotta be the shape control, right? Yep. So that's like a square wave. Which is why when I take that stitch all the way up, or the stretch all the way up, and turn it into a delay, if I take depth and rate to the absolute minimum, it's just a single note delay. Hey look, the worst application of this pedal. To be fair, it's a good sounding delay. And then I turn the rate all the way up. And nothing happens because the depth is at minimum. Okay, then I bring the depth up. Okay. And if you turn that rate back down, it cuts the it cuts the delay up into bigger chunks. So if I change the shape, it'll smoothly bring that delay in and out. That's super cool. Oh yeah, for those of you who are new in here, we are messing around with the Old Blood Noise Endeavor's Dweller, a pedal that I borrowed 3 days ago. Have spent less than 15 minutes playing with, and just decided I was going to learn how to use on a live stream. While drinking whiskey that I need to make a refill of. Oh, so if I go with that cool. Okay, that's cool. I've been using it on that like far right shape mode, which is like the square wave, where you get those like hard cuts on the delay line. Take the mix to max. That. Very stuttery. But and for the record, I refuse to look up the manual. We're just gonna do this. Okay, I think I see what's happening here. Ooh, okay, I don't know what the voice control does yet. Okay. If I go back to the other one. Is it like harmonic versus like voltage? Like is it like amplitude versus like pitch? Okay, this thing is really cool. I want one of these. Hold on, so let's take the depth and the rate to minimum. Let's get back to that horrible dotted eighth edge thing. There it is. Let's be lame. Oh. It just became cool. I really love the way that Old Blood Noise delays pitch shift. Okay, gen loss, there we go. I'm actually not in love with the way that the gen loss. We're gonna bring back in the original loop. It's my comfort blanket. I'm actually not in love with the way that the gen loss plays with this guitar. I think the gen loss really kind of shines with with single coils, largely. I really like nothing in the world to me sounds better than the Mustang and the Genloss. Yeah. I'm gonna work my way back up the thread, so I will hopefully get to everybody. The Sunlight by Old Blood seems really cool. The only, I don't know, I haven't played it. Stefan's video over at the Pedal Zone was really good. Some of the other ones were really cool, but just not totally like my application. Sometimes some of those like sci-fi reverbs cannot sound so much like a reverb, but like a freeze pedal, and I really like need my reverbs to sound like reverbs. It's why I love the Procession by Old Blood so much, and why I like every time I've gotten to play a Dark Star. I think they are really good at being reverbs that do other things as well, as opposed to a lot of companies who do one or the other. And some of the reviews didn't highlight that in the way that I would use it, but it seems like it's really cool. And I would love to play one. Pure Joy, what was the last substantial gear purchase that you spent money on? I bought my kid that little guitar that I was posting on Instagram and I think on the Discord for my Patreon supporters. I bought my son a little mini Jazzmaster from Squire for his birthday, so that he could so I could leave that out in the living room and he could smash on that instead of on one of my guitars. And it's just really cool, and I like it, and it's fun. Before that, I think the Cu22. I think that was the last thing I probably bought. I'm in an interesting space where a lot of the gear that I'm using comes to me in exchange for videos, demos, reviews. A lot of the cases that's also sponsored content as well. So I'm in, like I said, a very fortunate spot to be able to kind of like use a lot of awesome gear without having to go out of pocket for a lot of it, just because of, I don't know, arbitrary unfairness of the world. I don't have an answer to that. But the last few things I should say that I bought that I was really excited about and stoked that I kind of like went out of pocket on would definitely be the Origin. Some of the stuff on the board actually, I paid for. I was not given the Mercury 7, the Volante. I should say that I have an artist discount with Strymon, so I didn't pay full price for the Volante, but bought the Mercury 7, bought the Volante, bought the Genloss from Ken, who may or may not still be in the thread. Bought the Benson preamp, bought the Origin FX Cu22. The Dweller is a borrowed pedal. The vocoder is a borrowed pedal. Yeah, it's I actually have, this is a pretty, I paid for it board. Even in the background of the shot right now, I guess you can't really see it in the shot, but I can. I've got my Gravitas and my Small Sound Big Sound Mini back there, which I bought both of those. Yeah, there's some in the Genloss, the Origin, the Benson are all fairly recent purchases. Volante was like a year ago. Mercury 7's been a couple of years. Yeah. I highly recommend all of those things. Oh, by the way, we can do a spoiler. I get a lot of questions about like budget-friendly versions of what I do, like with this stuff. And I am doing a video. I was like looking over here to see kind of like what other stuff I've got around right now that like I bought. Oh, I didn't buy it, but I bought a pedal that I then traded for the Flint. That's not true, actually. I traded for the Flint from some gear that I was given for some video content. But it cost me something to get the Flint, and I highly recommend the Flint. It's really good. I love this pedal. It's very fun. I'm getting sidetracked. What I was going to say, advice from removing ground noise. Humbuckers and good quality power, making sure that your power is not on the same circuit that lights are on, a quality DI that has a ground. That's kind of what I got. So anyways, I was doing, so I did, last year I did my kind of like ambient guitar masterclass thing for Guitar.com's virtual trade show. And the number one question I've gotten on that video and on videos kind of like following that up essentially have been like, hey, this is all well and good. Can we do this without spending $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever my board allegedly costs? Which is a fair criticism and question and everything. And the answer to all of it is kind of no, because things like the microcosm, I was talking to somebody today, the microcosm does stuff that kind of nothing else does. You could approximate the microcosm with like 3 or 4 different pedals, but you'd still be in mono at the end of all that. So stuff like that, and stuff like the vocoder or the Enzo, they're kind of unique use cases. But for kind of like my core playing style, just kind of like my guitar sound into delays and reverbs and how I kind of build that thing out. Check this out. Spoilers. This video is coming soon. This is I'm doing a sponsored thing with Flamma. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about it, but like whatever. We've got the drive, the preamp, the modulation, the delay, the reverb, and the cab, and stereo, and it's not plugged in yet, but I'm super excited because I've been kind of watching the Flamma stuff for a while right now, and I think that what they're doing is like pretty interesting, and I think that their delays and their reverbs actually sound kind of dope, and I'm curious to try their preamp and their cabs, and I can actually load my own IRs into the cab. So I think this upcoming week I'm going to be shooting some stuff on an all Flamma discount board, which if you've looked up the Flamma prices, I'm pretty sure that board would only cost like $300 or $400. Like that's kind of insane, right? So I'm excited about that. That's apropos of nothing. I think this is a total non sequitur in over the course of this stream. Maybe it's the ad break that we use to go out and grab some more whiskey, which we are now out of, which is tragic. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. I haven't plugged any of it in. Maybe it all sounds horrible, but I doubt it does, because I think I just watched the JHS video on it, and a lot of the stuff sounded pretty good. So I'm excited about that. I'm really looking forward to doing that, because I've legitimately wanted to do the budget board thing for a long time. Ideally, someday I would love to do a Boss budget board thing. It wouldn't be so much be budget, because Boss is like, you know, the benchmark of cost, not like the budget option. But in the modern context where you have things like the Microcosm and the Genloss and the Mercury 7 and the Volante, our subculture, like boutique guitar nerds, sleep on Boss much harder than we ought to. Boss makes some of the best stuff in the game. I mean, the vocoder is exactly the example of that. Like it's fascinatingly cool, and it's like $200, and it's so cool. I think it's $200. Maybe it might be $249 for all I know. It's borrowed. Buddy of mine's got my Polymoon, and I've got his vocoder. But like, yeah, exactly. Like everyone started out with some Boss. Not everybody. I didn't start out with some Boss stuff. I think the DD7 was like my 4th pedal, and it was my only Boss thing other than tuners. But like, yeah, we all started out with Boss stuff, and then everyone kind of falls away from it. And there's a couple reasons for that. One being you feel like you outgrew it, and 2, like, Boss doesn't engage with like your favorite pedal influencers, like, and this is what it is. Like people always make the jokes of like, oh, Boss, people don't play Boss because it doesn't get likes on Instagram, that kind of thing. The reason for that is because the stuff that gets likes on Instagram is stuff that's being used and promoted by kind of like influential guitarists in the space, and they tend to be playing stuff that is being made by their friends or that has been sent to them by companies that would love for them to promote it and that kind of thing. And Boss doesn't play any of those games. I know this. I'm friends with. I've got a buddy of mine who works for Boss Roland, and I can't get anything from Boss. Like I've tried, and they won't give me anything. And I've tried, and it's funny because it makes me want to like shake whoever's in charge over there and be like, you're missing a segment of the industry by not playing the like influencer game. And I don't even say that to try to get anything from me. I say that because I think it's true. I think that a lot of people would be really, really thrilled to have a Slow Gear or the SY1 or the vocoder. Like, I didn't even know the freaking vocoder existed until a buddy of mine loaned it to me. How stupid is that? No, not necessarily. The DM2 is obviously just an analog delay, but it's also considered to be one of the best analog delays. But like the DD8 or whatever we're on has like a bunch of weird stuff in it. The Terra Echo has some weird stuff. They've got some good reverse delays. The DD200 has like a billion delays in it, and they're like, you got multi-taps, you got reverses, you got filter delays, you've got, you've got basically everything that like the Timeline would have, but better because it's actually in stereo, it's not in dual mono. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that right now. This trashing Strymon's stereo implementation is for another day, and that other day is like 5 streams ago. That's private now. Oh yeah, I'll play some vocoder. Yeah, but like, Ken, I agree with you, but like, what I use the Mercury 7 for is just an ambient reverb or a plate. What I use the Specular Tempest for is just a modulated ambient reverb or a plate. Like, yeah, the Big Sky's got like the Magneto and a bunch of like crazy crap on it, but like, most of us don't use a lot of that stuff very often. A lot of us just want like a really good wide reverb, and like the modulated reverb on the RV6 or 5 or whatever it is that we're on right now, it's really good. It's not as good as the Mercury 7. Like, I've played both. I think this is better. I think the Mercury 7 is better than the Big Sky. I think it's better than almost any reverb on the market right now for this. Like, no reverb. And like giant, wide, beautiful, hollow ambient. Oh yeah, I agree with what Pure Joy is saying. Anyways, to finish that thought, like, I think this is better than the RV5, but like also the RV5s, you can buy one on Reverb for like $120, and if you're not using MIDI and you just need a good reverb, like, people should buy that before they buy a stupid Hall of Fame that I think sounds like trash. Whatever. I'm not afraid of TC. How many of my pedals on my board I think have a direct Boss equivalent? I'm gonna kind of jokingly point at the 29 pedals because every single Boss pedal is a buffered pedal, but it's obviously not the same. I assume that Boss makes a rat somewhere along the way. That would not surprise me. Obviously, the vocoder is Boss. Boss does make a compressor, the C something 2, or maybe it's just the C2. I haven't played it, but like, they have a compressor. I'm sure it's good. Like, this doesn't need to be a Cali 76. It doesn't need to be an 1176 style compressor. I love the Diamond compressor. I love my Never Out of Reach Empress compressor. Benson preamp obviously would be like, I guess, the Blues driver, essentially. Obviously, there's not a 1-to-1 there, but it's like a preamp kind of thing. The Dweller, I guess, would be. I mean, this is the thing. Is like you're gonna get into specific use case stuff that is like a totally untenable option. Like I said, like the microcosm, nothing does what the microcosm does. The Dweller is fascinating because it's doing a very bizarre thing, but like in earnest, if I had to swap out my drive sections, my compressor, my Volante, my Mercury 7 for Boss stuff, I'd manage. I'd probably be fine. I could probably replace 3/4 of this board with Boss gear and come out the other side completely fine. They've got great, like the what is it, the DD200 or the 200 series Boss pedals do like everything. It's really cool. I could get the whatever the Boss JHS collab was. That would be amazing because like I don't like Boss drives and I don't like JHS drives. So much fun. Welcome. I think that's the note that I'm gonna go get some more whiskey on. Oh, but also yeah, like the SY1. Oh my god, nobody. I love the Enzo. I took my headphones off, but I'm gonna stay and rant for a second. I love the Maris Enzo. I think the synth stuff in it is cool, but like the dry control stuff is what I love about it. But like no one, as far as I know, no one in the market is making a better synth pedal than Boss is with the freaking SY1, which is just a single, small, easy form factor thing. They also make the S1 or the SY1000 or whatever, which is this crazy overwrought thing that you should go watch Ben Jordan's video on. But like the SY1 is amazing. It's better than almost every synth pedal on the market. And no one uses it because it's Boss. It's the stupidest thing. Anyways, whiskey. Be right back. What a vibe that is. I need to figure out how to like get a second camera that's just like the vanity shot of the like slightly backlit whiskey bottle. Yeah, Ken, I would agree with you that like if you're trying to go the weird route, but you need to do things like, you know, more on a budget. The old, I mean, I'm biased for Old Blood because they were kind of like my first love in this space. Up here on the shelf, I've got the CME exclusive colorway for the Black Fountain. And God, I can't even recall when I fell in love with that pedal. It's been years now. And it was probably my first real dive into the boutique stuff. And I fell in love with the Black Fountain. I still love it. I think it's an amazing pedal. Old Blood does stuff that like nobody's doing. And that's when we go through the like, how do you one-to-one comparison things to Boss? The very first thing that I'm gonna get the most hung up on is gonna be the Dweller, because like no one's really doing the Dweller thing. No one's really doing the Dark Star thing. No one was really doing the Procession thing. We have seen a bunch of tremolo reverbs come out since then, but like Old Blood's Trem Procession kind of predates the Trem reverb on the Procession predates most Trem reverbs. Yeah, they were ahead of things in a big way. Yeah, also Earthquaker. I mean, God, I've never owned anything by Earthquaker, and they are the Avalanche Run is like the pedal I most wish I owned that I will probably never own. Just because like it doesn't make sense for me to buy it. I have a bunch of great reverbs and a bunch of great delays and a bunch of great things that do reverse delay. But there's something about the Avalanche Run that is pure magic. Dude, the Fairfield Fuzz thing, I haven't watched any of the videos on it yet. I totally missed that entire drop. I need to go back and watch it. Matthew, or Mr. Matthew, sorry. Are you Mr. Feeney right now? Mr. Matthews? We are drinking Suntory Toki. It is Japanese whiskey. It's very light. It's very good. It's one of those ones. It's a little sharp at the very, very start because I'm more of a Scotch guy and I like that kind of like old school burn. But here we are on our second, smaller than the first one, but still reasonably full glass, and we find that it has softened nicely. Dude, we will do a Ken sponsored stream. I'm all about that. When Andy pulled out the Miku, I felt jealousy in my heart. I love the Miku Stomp so much. There was one at a local shop here in Sacramento a couple years ago, and I dug into it and I absolutely fell in love with it. I put it into like the Earth. Speaking of Earthquaker, I put it into the Earthquaker Bit Commander. I put it into the Walrus Audio Julia, and I put it into the Earthquaker Avalanche Run. And dude, there is something about the Miku in an ambient context that is unironically so cool. Like, one of my biggest pedal regrets in the world is not something I have sold. It's me not buying a Miku back when they were like affordable, because it's unironically good. Like, if you put the right modulation, ADSR stuff in front of it, like if you can put it into something like the Fairfield Shallow Water or the Enzo or a Slow Gear, or whatever slow gear knockoff is in the synesthesia, to kind of round things off a little bit, and then put it into like wide stereo effects and reverbs and reverse delays, it becomes so cool because it's these like ambient vowel sounds that bounce around a sound field that are demonstrably different from your guitar tone. And it's so cool. It's so cool. Why don't they make it anymore? My heart, it hurts. Dude, if Andy's not going to use it, I will send him something in exchange for it. I will send him this Origin Effects Revival Drive that does not belong to me. I will send him the most overrated pedal on the planet Earth. Okay, let's see if I lose any subscribers for that one. Okay, I just went back and re-listened to that Yonsei record because I've listened to very few things in my life more than I have listened to Go Do. Or sorry, I guess it's just Go. And then I just didn't take the time to dig into the new Yonsei record, and I love it. Does Andy have two? I should have assumed that he had two, but like for some reason it still surprised me. Jesse, I haven't played one. Actually, that's not true. I played one on the Goodwood Audio demo board at NAMM like 3 years ago. Fell in love with it, thought it sounded incredible. I started talking to the guy who makes them. We were gonna try to find some time to do some like content together on the Liquid Ambience, the stereo one, and then I think just kind of everything with life with him and a little bit with me, just kind of like I got busy and I couldn't follow up with him. And I think he just kind of got to a place where he wasn't going to be like sending out pedals for like content or whatever. I would really like, I love his stuff. I think it sounds great. I think that his reverb is great. That very short-lived stereo true analog delay he was doing, I thought sounded really cool, but I guess there was some like technical limitations of that one. I think he's a great designer. I think his stuff's really good, and I wish that he was doing more stuff more frequently right now. By the way, this is my favorite version of streaming. Like, I'm not even holding a guitar. I'm just like, the pedal board is doing its thing, but also like it's not doing its thing the way that like Andy's does, where there's like 17 matrices all like matricing all over each other. It's just like one loop that's going, and I'm just like drinking whiskey. If I could make this my job, oh God, this would be every night. Speaking of which, there's a donate button if you want me to be doing this literally every night from now on. In earnest, I'm surprised that he was ever using one for a delay. I just kind of assumed that he was using both of them as loops and that he was just kind of like passing them back and forth as he is known to do. Yeah, I mean, if he's still doing stuff, like I want to know. I like I said, I think his stuff is really cool. And if he's building and if he's trying to get the word out or whatever, like, I don't know, DM me on Instagram and I'll throw whatever proverbial weight I can with the Ambient Notes page and my page and everything, just to kind of try to, you know, the last year has been rough on builders. It's been a bummer. So like, especially like the little guys, like, I mean, we have seen Tom over at Cooper like barely survive the last year of like trying to get pedals out with massive delays and like getting as many parts together as he can, and then like it sells out in 13 seconds. Like, I did my Genloss V2 demo. It was like 40 minutes long, and the pedal was sold out within like 2 minutes of all of our demos going live. So like, if you watched my review, you couldn't even get to the part where I finished playing and started talking before the pedal was like no longer available. Like, that's how rough things have been in terms of like the supply chain in the last year. It sucks. Yes, and he did the overselling thing because his website had some issues. Like, that poor guy, man. I've never used any of the Mooger Fooger stuff. It's all really cool looking. I love it, and I should get a bunch of it so that it will match the wood sides on my Emerson board, as well as the wood sides on my preamp Mark II, and then I'll like re-side my CXM with wood sides as well, and like my whole board will look like a 70s station wagon. It'll just be fucking awesome. I should probably be playing guitar. That's how long it's been since I've played anything. I forgot that the Genloss was still on after I talked about how I don't like the Genloss with humbuckers. Oh yeah, you can totally hear what I'm talking about though with the Genloss. So. Coil tap in, so this is now a neck humbucker. I don't like it. It's too boomy. It doesn't play nice with the Genloss. But then you pop that out to a single coil. So much better. Dude, Estonia is in the house. When I was in high school, one of my closest friends had the last name Steigerwald, and he was from Estonia. That is true. It's true. Oh right, we're supposed to be vocoding. I forgot about that. I don't know why I'm talking into it like anybody can hear it. I was just saying this mic is far away. Ooh. I just realized the purpose of sub goals, like donation goals. I should make like a donation goal for certain pedals. Like, oh, you want to hear the vocoder? Well, we have a donation goal for that. But I don't have donation goals set up, so we're not going to do that. We'll just do it. Oh, by the way, fair warning. I realize it just sounds like I'm procrastinating now. But my my camera does not have autofocus, so I'm about to move out of focus. So just, bear with. The amount of work it takes to mute and unmute this microphone makes it hard to react to things. But Pat, thank you very much. And also, yes, Pure Joy. Yes, I'm totally on board with 2-minute demos at $5 a pop. That sounds like a great way to spend these. Like, if I can sit here and drink whiskey and make $5 per hour or whatever, who cares? eventually we're gonna put a little thing up in the corner of the stream that just says like, buy me a drink. By the way, I jacked up all my Okay, we're back. The thing that I don't love about the vocoder, especially with guitar, is the guitar is not inherently a like sustainy instrument. It's very like momentary. And vocoders do really well with like keys because it'll just last as long as you want it to. And so I'm a big fan of finding ways to, and we'll demonstrate this in a second, finding ways to exaggerate those vocoder moments and make them feel spacey and ethereal, or ethereal if you want to pronounce it incorrectly. There was some YouTuber who kept saying ethereal. I think it might have been Ryan Hollinger, and it drives me insane because that's not correct, I think. Alex, yes, yes, this is, okay, to be fair, I don't know if this is officially the most up-to-date. I'm on the beta version of the current update. I did some testing for Walrus Audio for it a couple days ago before the update got pushed out. I've done a couple of betas over the last couple weeks while they were prepping this one. And there's a couple that were like, okay, and this one is really good. So I'm assuming this is the one that kind of got pushed out, which is awesome. So yeah, I think it's really good. I think that Walrus released a great product off the bat. Obviously, like I wouldn't have switched over to it as my kind of primary thing from the Iridium if I didn't think it was worthwhile. But I have watched them get better and better and better with it, which is really exciting. Okay, let's go back to the vocoder for a second. We're gonna talk about how I like to build. There we go. We just killed that. Let's kill all of our cool stuff. Listen to how dry that is. What is that? Oh, that's that's the microcosm. So this is our dry guitar. And then I'm gonna leave this mic on, so hopefully you can't hear me humming into the other microphone. So this is what the vocoder does when you're not doing anything to support it as a guitar. It's not great. Like, it's fine. It's cool. You can hear like what's happening there. You can do little single note things.
Bum, 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 bum. You can also talk, which is kind of cool. Oh, I guess I don't have to look. So I guess I don't have to go back over to the other mic to kind of make my point. But I have to keep strumming if I want you to understand what I'm saying. This is the problem with the vocoder, is it doesn't sustain forever, and as the notes start to go away, my voice goes away with it. You can hear it getting quieter right now. This is stupid.
This is so dumb. It's so dumb.
Anyways, let's keep talking about what I was talking about. So
there are ways to accentuate it because, like I said, I don't like the way that it just kind of dies off. You do like one of those cool vibey, like ohs, ahs, oohs, that kind of thing. And you can do like a cool thing where you kind of like swell in on it by staying away from the mic at the top. Like you hit your guitar note and then you bring in the mic. So. And so you can do that, which kind of helps. Dude, Ken, we can make that happen. But yeah, so I don't feel like that's an effective use of the tool. And by the way, this is a side tangent rant thing, but like I get occasional comments on my YouTube channel about people going like, I can't tell what the pedal you're supposed to be demoing is doing because you got all the other stuff turned on. And I'm going like, no one plays guitar the other way. No one who uses these pedals is going like, man, I got my guitar and I got my amp. You know what I'm going to buy for in between the two? The Dweller and nothing else. Or like the vocoder and nothing else. Like the Mercury 7 and nothing. Like, that's not how anybody does anything. So this is why I demo the way I do. Like I said, this is just me being salty about like some dumb comments I've gotten recently. But my point is, you want to build out that vocoder. The vocoder by itself, it's cool, but it doesn't do the thing that you want it to do. If you want that synth sound, you want that synth sound to be something larger than life. Unless you want to do like an intentional thing, like I could play like a chord and then kind of percussively like make p into my microphone and like get like a tremolo thing. Stupid. It's dumb. I don't care. But yeah, like there are things you can do with the dry version of it, but they're not good. And so that's why you start going like, okay, let's kick on a reverb. You have that trail there, but you hear the dry note drop off too aggressively. So we bring in the volante. We're getting better. It's starting to kind of like feel like it really drags. It feels very spacious and like I said, there's a larger than life quality I want out of something like this. We're still hearing it die too fast. You could bring in something like the microcosm. We'll do like, let's do blocks. bring it up a little bit. Keep that filter up. Set it to 2x so that it jumps in fast. Keep the repeats high. Give it a little space. Activities up. That was dope. It's fitting that we're doing this right now. Like, I've been using the vocoder for a while, but it's fitting that we're having this conversation here because the dweller's on the board now. And like, you heard what that was. The dweller, as you heard earlier, the dweller does such a specific... It fills so much immediate space. It thickens up that center channel in such a way that, like, if I keep that dweller on with the vocoder, and then we'll bring the microcosm back in, but like just dweller into vocoder now. That's what I want out of this pedal. I want a decay control. I want it to just drift off forever like that. That's super cool. Okay, and this is why a big pedal board is fun. Is now we have, we're gonna turn the gen loss back off because it's not actually helping anything. Now we are vocoder, dweller for like basically just thickening up the vocoder initial signal and creating a long trail. It'll then hit the microcosm in blocks mode. It'll then go to the volante and the Mercury 7. It would help if I had turned up my guitar. By the way, this is a quick plug for how friggin' dope the glide mode on the microcosm is. It's the most underrated thing on the entire pedal, and it's so cool. Anyways, yeah, so welcome. That was my weird rant about the vocoder that I did for $4.99. Thank you. Thank you again to Pat. Hopefully you stuck around for that whole stupid thing. It was really fun and really weird. The dweller is really cool. But also, like I said, the vocoder it's so fun. It's really cool. And I literally I didn't know it existed until this bass player friend of mine named Ariel like let me know that it was a thing and like passed it over to me. I miss Andy doing pedal demos for like 3 weeks. Like it was a short-lived era in his modern context resurgence, but like, God, what a beautiful thing it was. The Genloss corn nod was like one of my favorite things that's ever happened on the internet. How freaking good does the stupid swoopy glide mode sound? This red light on this guitar is like my favorite thing in the world. Like it looks good on the other guitars, kinda, but there's something about the red light on the gold top that really is like, I don't know why. It makes me think of when I was in junior high, and you'd go to the roller rink because I'm old, and you'd ask to hear the Mortal Kombat theme song from the Mortal Kombat movie that was out at the time. Not the new one, you freaking zoomers, but like the old one. And there's something about like a dark red on gold that makes me think of like roller skating and listening to the Mortal Kombat movie theme song. What is this stream? I have to assume, Bo, that you wrote that comment before I started that story. Turning the mix and the regen. I just feel like there's like a staying power that the Dweller has. And that's the thing that I've kind of like latched onto very, very quickly here. Is I feel like the Dweller. One of the things that bums me out, especially with like a higher output guitar like this, with a pedal board like I've got right now, where it's like, we're gonna put dry in air quotes, but dry. And by that we mean they're not time-based effects, except for the Dweller, obviously. And then you hit the Microcosm, which is the looper, and then the Volante and the Mercury 7. They have to stay reasonable to not wash out the mix of like the loop we're doing. And so if I just do like the dry of the like swell, like the volume swells drop off really quickly. But if I turn on the Dweller, all of a sudden we have these like I feel like I have to buy a Dweller now, and and like make it a permanent staple in like my early chain playing dynamics. I love it. I love just that it stays. It just, because you can kind of turn up that rate and depth, you're not just getting like, if my guess is that, let's turn off the loop again. My guess is that if I take the rate and the depth, so here's my, you can hear it die really quick, even with the Volante and the Maris turned on. If I turn the dweller on, and it's just set as a delay right now. Yeah, so you're hearing that very predictable individual repeat happening. But we turn up that rate and that depth. That's amazing. Okay, I love that. That's so cool. Okay, good. Let's bring the loop back. But that's good to know. That rate and the depth create a randomness and a like hard to predict. Def, how dare you? How dare you? I don't even know if I disagree with you, but like also how dare you? Okay, for those of you who were not here at the start of this video when I did the illustrious history of this guitar, the guy, oh, there's the volume. Jesus, that's so loud. Def from Santiago, Def. He is the man responsible for bringing this guitar back to life. He is the man who did all of the work on this week or this month, or I guess last month at this point. The volume pop mod, or the coil tap, the three-way switch, the coil, the removal of the horrible five-way that was no good, that no one ever liked. So everybody in chat, tell Defram thank you for reintroducing Paul Reed Smith into the ambient context, because I'm gonna go ahead and say it. No one's doing good ambient on a Paul Reed Smith until now. That's a very specific joke to Def and people who were here for my last stream where I talked some crap about another YouTuber. That's what these streams are for, you guys. It's also very fitting that Def just jumped in, because the dude is the king of like the volume pot swell, and that is not something that I have ever done in my entire life. I've always hated doing the volume pot swells. I've always either used like an auto swell with like the Enzo, the synesthesia, a volume pedal, or you know, something in that, or the shallow water or whatever. But this guitar, this volume knob is in such a good spot for it, and the stupid dweller is so good. It's so good. By the way, Def, you gotta buy one of these. There is no practical application for you to have one, but it's the dopest. So like, listen to how dumb these volume swells are. We're turning off the microcosm. Listen to how dumb these volume swells are. Stupid. Now listen to them. Oh my God. We keep thinking we've got it sorted. It's loopback. I swear to God. I literally just had to like open and close loopback. I turned on and off the device for my streaming audio like 4 times. I deleted the Thunderbolt source in loopback and then re-enabled it and then made all my connections. This is not a good program. Like, it fails a lot. By the way, I haven't checked in like an hour. Are we in sync? Like, is my voice in sync with the video yet? Because like an hour and a half ago, it was not. Speaking of, I don't even know how long we've been going for. Oh my good. Beach Road Bum. Donating on the back of a technical failure. The hero. The hero. For that, we refill. Def's laughing as I do this because he knows I have to be up at like 5 a.m. Okay, actually, you know what? It's still offset, of course it is. Okay, Beach Road Bum, you get to make a call here. I'm going to let you pick. What are we playing? Are we playing the Paul Reed Smith, the 1972 Mustang, or my Harmony, right? The Harmony Silhouette? What are we playing? We're gonna do a guitar swap here. Must be nice, Jesse. It is. What time is it here? It's 11. Oh my God. I think we started this at like 9:30. I usually start these like at 11, so this would normally be like 1 a.m. for me, and I'd be like regretting all my choices, but Mustang it is. People who are often on the stream will probably be rolling their eyes because they know that the Mustang is like the go-to guitar for me these days. But look how close it was. This guitar is never far away. Well, Devin, if you had donated, you could have picked the guitar. But also, I'm very glad that he didn't pick the Harmony because the Harmony's input jack is incompatible with a right angle, and so I would have had to have unplugged the cable from the pedal board and done like a full 180 swap, which would have been kind of a hassle. All right, I think we're in tune. I forgot that we're doing like the really, really exaggerated dweller thing. Ken, look, you are correct on that front, but also I am at the fun part of the slippery slope. So, you know whose problem this is going to be? Future me. And I'm, screw that guy. He didn't get enough sleep last night. Pure joy. It would have been an option, but it's not in here. It's out in the living room, and that thing like barely holds tunes. So I would have been like you know, having to like stop the tune every like, seriously, probably every like 7 minutes. Yes, I do love this guitar. This is like my go-to all the time these days. Gotta change that compressor setting. Let's hit the mosaic mode. Oh, that's what's going on. I'm sitting here like trying to figure out why the Mustang isn't hitting like I expected to. Are you ready? I turned out that low switch for the PRS. So let's listen to this. There it is. Oh, and for those of you who were here earlier and were hearing me talk about how I don't love the gen loss with single coils, here's where I do love the gen loss. That is amazing. I love that. Yes, yeah. Assuming I said I don't love it with single coils, I meant I don't love it with humbuckers. Okay, there was a question about what my favorite brand new record was, which is a, as you all know, somewhat contentious question these days because I believe the rule is you're not allowed to still like anything from a band that has been outed as problematic. It's tough. They were my favorite band for a non-trivial amount of my life. But also, I mean, weirdly, I have a hard time actually picking like what my favorite record from them would have been. Devil and God is probably the most impactful or the most kind of like foundational to how I like write and what I aspired to in terms of songwriting approaches and like instrumentation and arranging, and not just of them, of like any band I listened to. Second, maybe only to AFI's Sing the Sorrow in terms of single guitar player context writing kind of thing. But I have a massive amount of love for Daisy because I went out and I bought that record the day it came out. I went out and bought a physical copy of it, put it in my CD player on the drive home, listened to it one time through, and then didn't touch it for 2 years. Because I just did not get it. And it took me a long time to go back and go, oh, you know what song was pretty good? Was Vices. And I went back and I listened to it, and all of a sudden the entire record just made sense to me. And then I spent years writing harder for Vices than anything on the planet because I thought that brand new fans who didn't like that record were stupid. Which I still kind of think that that's the case. But, I really loved their last record too. I thought Science Fiction was absolutely astonishing. I have a hard time disassociating. Like, I have a complicated relationship with the idea of death of the author. It feels very convenient on the listener/reader side of the relationship to absolve yourself of things, and I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily think that just using death of the author to absolve yourself of supporting somebody who's done something that is not worthy of support. I mean, yeah, you know how it is. Then there's the argument that there's multiple people in that band, and I don't know. This is not territory that I want to tread on the stream right now. Their last 3 records are my favorite part of that band's era. I could rant about Death of the Author for like 3 hours, but I find that it would be aggressively unconstructive. And a lot less fun than the time that I came on one of these late night streams and spent like 2 hours literally just talking about AFI's discography. That was a fun one. You ever notice that the Gen Loss sounds like it's covered in snow? Also, Def, we're not out yet. Look at that. Can you see? My stupid. I have a 50 mil that has an autofocus, and I have a 35 mil that doesn't have an autofocus, and we're on the 35 mil because I thought it would be important for you guys to be able to see like the guitar and me and the pedal board, because I'm either a completist or vain. You can kind of take your pick, but I'm using a lens that doesn't have autofocus. So when I hold the whiskey glass out, it doesn't ratchet. Ratchet? Rack focus is what I was trying to get to. Okay, The Dweller. Ooh, this is a thing. Oh, don't love that. Let's keep the depth up. Let's turn that rate down. That is kind of a vibey phaser. Oh, you could kind of get like a... So here is... I'm going to kill the loop for a second. So that is the dweller. So dry tone. So we've got... Let's put the depth and the rate at noon for dweller, and then bring the mix up. If you take the regen all the way down... Oh, we got to take the mix down on the microcosm. You can kind of exaggerate things. And then if you take that stretch all the way out, you get your... your like full delay. And at minimum, you've got your... But if you take it just a tiny bit, it gets a little ring moddy. Oof. Interesting. Hold on, so if we just introduce a tiny bit of the mix on that. Okay, that's cool. I gotta buy one of these. This is really good. It's so weird. It's so bizarre. Yeah, I think we're back. Have you not been listening with headphones? Okay, so, I was gonna put up a thing that has like the ticker of like people who have donated money, but instead I'm gonna have to put up a thing that just says, please be wearing headphones. I spend 80% of my time on all of my social media platforms ranting about stereo images. I can think of exactly one time where I'm listening in any given day. There's literally one time where I'm not listening to my music on a proper stereo environment. And it's while I'm playing Purity Ring on my phone while my kid is in the bath. Yeah, 5 a.m. is fast approaching. It's 11:27 here. We are, how far are we into this stream? YouTube should tell me, right? It's not telling me. I don't know how long we've been live. There's no way of knowing. There just isn't. Oh, gosh. I gotta get an expression pedal hooked up to that dweller, because those like. It's really cool. That's super cool. I stopped paying attention to the fact that the microcosm was still doing stuff, and so when I started just like jacking the time knob on the dweller back and forth, it started grabbing onto that, and it was really cool. Oh my goodness. Dude, that is real cool. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. He's out here trying to keep me awake and drinking when I should be up early for work. You hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear... Yeah, those pitch shifts up in the microcosm. That's super cool. I really like that. I just, oh man, the Dweller and the Microcosm in conjunction with one another is something special right now. I'm also just very happy that this loop that I made back at like 9 o'clock in preparation for this is still holding strong, is still cool. We're bringing a little bit more Mercury 7 in though. Oh, that's one of those places, those like super high notes right there. That is the Gen Lost territory. I love that. I think that like those high notes on the Gen Loss with single coils, it sounds like a dusty piano, and I love that. Okay, I gotta figure out how to change the volume on those incoming super chats because those are so loud relative to my guitar and my voice. But two things. One, Alex, thank you. Super, super cool. I am using. Oh God! See, now I need to have an answer. Who's the guy? I don't know anything about him except that he's like a church player guy. Maybe at Bethel? What is his name? God, I'm so sorry. There's a dude who I think is like a Bethel player up in Reading. Yes, Hislop. David Hislop? Yeah, so I am using his Greenback 12-inch speakers. I'm using so the Greenback 12 inches on the Fender model. It's a Greenback 12 on both sides. I think they're both using a 545 microphone. One of them is like 2 inches off from center, and the other one is 3 inches, but also 4 inches away from the cone, or like 4 inches away from the grill cloth. So it's the same speaker on both sides. It's a 545 mic on both sides, but one of them is slightly off center. The other one's further off center. No, sorry. One of them's closer to center. This is actually true. One of them is only like 2 inches off center of the cone, but 4 inches away from the cabinet. And the other one is 4 inches off center, but right against the grill cloth. Those are the IRs I'm using. And his IRs are really great because, they're wide, flat sounding. They're not snappy. They're not percussive. They have that big, wide thing that just works with like big reverbs and delay trails and stuff. I think they're really good. I think they sound very, very good. Is it David? What did I say? Did I say Daniel? Because that wouldn't surprise me. The whiskey has run out again. I'm using, honestly, I'm just using Fender on both sides. Sometimes, like if I'm playing live or whatever, I'll play around with like an AC30 on one side. I find that it's, okay, here's the truth. I find that it's more trouble than it's worth for me to balance levels with unmatched amps. I am much happier. I like my guitar tone a lot more. I mean, for what I'm doing here, it's all Fender all the way, like all Fender amps all the time. Nice round amps. And then just using unmatched cabinets to get a little bit extra width. But for this kind of ambient stuff, for like band stuff, it's sometimes nice to have the bite of an AC on one side, but I don't find that it's worth the hassle of getting into a context, trying to set up both amps live and make sure that the levels you're sending are even on both sides, that the presence matches, because the AC bites so much harder and the other one, you know how it is. It's, hey, we have a new subscriber, and then also subscribers work. That's exciting. We hadn't tested that yet. Welcome. Welcome, new subscriber. It already fell off I think it was Brett. So if I'm getting that name right, Brett, thank you. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your time here. But yeah, I don't find that I love dealing with the hassle of getting two different amps to feel appropriately the same, like present in my mix. An AC30 just gets, you know, it's so in your face so quickly, and a Fender you kind of like gotta coerce into being very in your face, and I don't like that game. I just, two Fenders is easier. It just is. And it is 11:38 p.m. here. You hear that? It sounds like snowfall. I'm convinced that it does. And nothing can change my mind. Welcome. Welcome to the stream over there in the UK. I used to only do these like late night live streams starting closer to like 11:30. And then I would just kind of like stream until 1 a.m. And it was so funny because I always felt like I was going to jump on and no one was going to be there, because in my mind, nobody outside of California knows who I am. And then I kept getting people in my streams basically showing up and going like, hey, I'm in Germany having breakfast right now. And it was really cool. So like, yeah, that's awesome. Welcome. I'm glad that people are jumping in from like all over the place. Pure joy, I have no idea what the harmony is trying to be. I don't know, because when I have it dialed clean, the thing that my big takeaway from the video that I did on here on this channel was that it sounded quintessentially like me. And it's tough because anything I play sounds like me, because I've learned that it's just a way I play. It's the way that I do the kind of middle position finger style, you know. It's the way I shape chords. It's the way I pick with my fingers. Like, it's my playing dynamics. There's a lot that goes into how I play that just creates the sound that I have. Whether or not that's a good thing is, you know, up for debate. That's fine. I'm not a proficient guitar player or anything, but I have realized I love that this thing will just kind of keep playing whatever it is that I played last. Like, we can just go. And then we'll hear it in a second. It's coming. Don't worry about it. But as a result, it's hard for me to understand when I grab an amp what it's supposed to sound like unless it's a very clear cut. This is an AC30. This is a Marshall. Like some of that stuff, it's really easy to nail down, but like a lot of the but like, you know, Vox really only has the one amp sound. They have like, you know, they've got some other amps in their line, but no one cares about anything but the AC30, and so you only know the AC30 sound, and you know it when you hear it. And when other companies do the AC30 sound, you pick up on it right away. And I gotta put the Zoya back on this board, by the way, so I can just kind of like play some like synthy keys every so often. I feel like that'd be really fun. I think that, so anyways, as a result, when you start getting into like amp companies that don't just have the one sound, you start getting into some space where I have a very hard time playing an amp and knowing what it's trying to be, because the first thing I do with any piece of gear that I start playing is I figure out how to make it sound exactly the way that I want it to sound, which tells me that I should probably stop playing new gear and just like fine tune my versions of perfect gear. Do you like how I'm just like casually like refilling while I have this conversation? We're doing smaller refills though, because I do have to go to bed soon. Brought to you by Centauri. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag emotional. Hashtag not clickbait. Yeah, so this is a long, drawn out answer to the question of what does the Harmony amp sound like, and the answer is I don't know, because when I dialed it in for clean tone, which is what I was going for in that video, it just sounded like me, which made me think that it's very Fendery, but also it breaks up a lot faster than most Fender amps I've played, like a lot faster, and the dirt in it sounds a lot better than most Fender amp dirt that I hear, which I tend to hate. So I don't know, but it's really good. The Harmony amp is great. In the not too distant future, I think that this board is going to get torn apart. We're going to retire the current layout. We are going to introduce a wet, dry, wet setup. We'll be kind of running all of our wet effects out to the ACS1 still, but we will also be sending a middle channel dry signal to the Harmony amp over in the amp closet, aka just a normal closet that has some cushions in front of it. Because I miss the wet, dry, wet thing. I think it sounds really great, and I really, really was very happy with how the Harmony amp responds to a lot of the drives that I love that I have been neglecting, like the Small Sound Big Sound Mini. This here borrowed revival drive from Def, who was in the chat earlier, who worked on my PRS. This pedal is really, really amazing if you are running it into a tube amp, and it's really trash if you run it into a direct setup. I don't know, it's just true. Okay, we're gonna kill the reverb for a second. So if we kill the delay too, you can just hear our microcosm loop. You bring in the volante, you start to hear that. But here's my favorite thing about the volante. Suddenly, beautifully wide if you're wearing headphones. I'm talking to you, Beach Road Bum, who was not wearing headphones earlier. And then we bring back in that reverb, and suddenly we have like the most beautifully wide thing on the planet. Ooh, there we go. We've been rolling with the loop at the same speed this whole night, and I totally forgot that we could take it down to this like very moody half speed. Pure joy. I stopped using the gravitas because I was gonna make a joke about how I realized I hated it. No, honestly, I stopped using the gravitas because I was using the flint for a while, and I like having a later in the chain tremolo / one that is stereo, even though I don't like it as much as the gravitas. And then I was doing some stuff with the amp, which has a tremolo built in, but the next board build I do, it's going back on. Like, I love the gravitas so much. For those of you who don't know the gravitas and my deep abiding love for it, go into my Instagram. Go follow me on Instagram if you don't follow me already. Shameless plug. Scroll past all the new garbage. Nobody cares about it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Get to like a year and a half ago when I was filming out of my old office, very officey wall behind me, this weird like light wood IKEA looking shelving unit. I was probably playing this guitar a lot during that era. And then like this giant board was like sitting kind of like in front of me in the camera. That's your cue. I'm using the gravitas constantly during that time, and I love it, and it's amazing. And the reason that I'm not using it a bunch, this is totally true. The reason I haven't been using it a bunch is because it's really great at 18 volts, and I have one Strymon power supply that does 18 volts. It's the OHI R30, and I've been using it on one of my little like nano boards. This is my okay, sorry, this is a weird flex. I have two of those little nano boards, and they are hilarious. But anyways, the point is, the OHI R30 and the power brick fit perfectly underneath one of those little boards, and so I put that one under there. And I don't like the gravitas as nearly as much at 9 volts, and so as a result, it hasn't been on the main board. And every time I build a board, I'm not kidding, I pull the gravitas out and I try to find a place for it on the board, and then I just kind of don't because of this one issue. Anyways, the point, the tangent I was about to go on is, I love that I have two mono mini boards, or nano, or whatever they're called. Nano boards, that's the one. No, not nano. Nano's pedal train or whatever. These are lights, right? Light and light plus, the mono light and light plus. Based on the fact that you're laughing at me, I believe that you're laughing at me for being wrong about the branding, which is fair because I didn't pay for one. Anyways, so I was laughing when I pulled up the board because I have two mono board, like the little mini mono boards. One is the one that I showed earlier on stream, which is my, by the way, spoiler alerts for those of you who weren't here earlier, my upcoming like budget board sponsored content with Flamma. They were kind enough to like hook me up with an entire board's worth of like, how do you build ambient guitar tone on a budget? And so we have like a beautiful whole setup of pedals that all cost like $20 to $70 and sound really cool. So that's coming soon. But I was laughing because I have like a mono board full of like the budgetiest of budget pedals right next to my least budget pedal board ever. It's my entirely Chase Bliss nano board. Cause I either have to flex or I'm a douche. I don't know what the answer is, but like, it's great. Is this the part where I'm an asshole for asking for donations? That's fine, whatever. Hold on, what do you mean? It's the most luxury nano board. In what capacity? I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm curious to know why that is. I mean, it's so cool. It fits in my backpack. It's like one piece and it just bends over. It's very like sleek and minimalist. Is that why it's luxury? Oh, sorry. No, we're talking about the fact that it's a bunch of Chase Bliss pedals on it. Sorry. I'm not keeping up with like the rate that the chat's moving. I understand where you're coming from. I was just making jokes about the millennial brunch thing like a week ago because I'm an old man. Well, hold on. I mean, well, the Chase Bliss one is, yes, compared to Ryan's Afforda boards, but like the Flamma one, that's you can't say that that's like a luxury Afforda board. The Flamma stuff is super cheap. We're talking like stereo reverbs for like $60. I assume that's like a good deal. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Sorry, my dog is sleeping here in the room, and he started making a weird noise. I was just making sure he was good. Oh yeah, no. When I say nano board, that's the Chase Bliss nano board is not a budget board. That is just a small board with a lot of pedals, a lot of high-end pedals on it. My whole worldview is buy the smallest board you can and put the most crap you can on it. Like, this is my biggest board that I own, this Emerson board, and it's pretty gigantic. It's smaller than like, you know, like the pedal train Terra boards or whatever. But oh, speaking of which, oh shit, hold on. Okay, there's some unreleased stuff on this pedal board that I have to take off really quick. Hold on. Apologies. This I'm very excited about. Goodwood was kind enough to send me out their like new like thingy. So this right here is in earnest my favorite pedal board that I own. This is my Temple Board Duo 21. I think it's the best size pedal board on the planet. I love the width. I mostly love the height. I wish it was just slightly, for years I have wished it was slightly taller so I could get just a few more, like, I've only ever wanted like maybe 3 more pedals on this pedal board, ever. It's so close to being the right size and it just never was. And then Goodwood dropped this like lift thing that they just came out with, which is like super cool. Oh wow, there's like a big delay on my OBS right now. That's where that audio lag is coming from. The camera is coming in super late. Hold on, let me try something really quick. Let's see if it comes in a little bit faster now. Nope, we're still behind. Whatever. I hoped it would fix it. But anyways, Goodwood sent me this lift thingy, and I was going to put it on one of my little like nano boards to like make the nano board ridiculous. But instead, look at this. It's so cool. So now I can put like a few more pedals on the top of this guy. And when I do my board rebuild, I think I might leave this again and go back to my trusty temple board, because now that I have this extra little like riser, it's game on. You don't even know. I'm so excited for this. It's gonna be really cool. I don't know why we're talking about this. Oh, we're talking about pedal boards, and this is like one of my favorite boards, and now it might actually be the right size, which is super exciting. Okay, so I'm not picking up a guitar again because they're over here now. Let's do a couple more questions, and then what time is it? Oh my God, it is midnight. We are going to be out of here in just a minute here. So if you've got a question, send it over. If you super chat it, I will answer it no matter what it is. Otherwise, I will pick and choose depending on how much it incriminates me. For the love of music, I appreciate how well-intentioned that message is, but it really does call into high relief how unreliable my streams have been in the past, so thank you. Daniel, favorite pitch shifter or octave pedal? So I've been really loving, up in the corner up there is the Maris Hydra, which is a really, really crazy pitch shifting pedal that I think is really, really fun and interesting and does a bunch of really creative stuff. In earnest, one of my all-time favorite pitch shifting pedals is the Mr. Black Octave 2. I owned one back in the day, and I really liked it. There was something about the modulation and like the kind of the artifice of the octave down and octave up that I really loved and I really miss, and I wish I still had one. It was a great pedal, and that might be to this day one of my all-time favorite pitch shifting pedals is the Mr. Black Octave 2. I can go without the Therme because it's currently being replaced by the Dweller specifically for figuring out the Dweller. I very rarely ever don't run the Therme. It's my favorite pedal. The Therme is my favorite pedal ever made, bar none. So, but you know, you don't need it constantly. You just need it whenever you're like writing something important. Yes, the brown T4 is dope. Hey, it's literally right here. It's so convenient that like I can just like kind of grab things. There's 3 levels of pedals in a freaking crazy IKEA bin over here that I'm not going to grab if you name a pedal that I can't reach. But like this is dope. The T4 sounds amazing. It's really crazy and woolly and very cool. It's the most I've liked a kind of muff style fuzz since I owned the Ren & Cuff Violet World, which was also very cool and which I also regret selling. Smooth is the right word for it, yes. And that's what I really like about like a good, like, I want fuzz to do one of two things. I either want it to be really kind of like chaotic and insane, or I want it to feel silky. And this one feels silky in all the right ways. All right, we got like a 1/4 ounce of whiskey left. And that's going to be the end of this stream once I finish the whiskey. So, like I said, if you've got any questions, drop them and drop them quick. If you super chat them, I will answer them. Otherwise, and if you do that, you can ask whatever you want, and I will answer honestly, and that'll be super fun. But short of that, we will finish this whiskey off. We will finish the conversation, and then I will crank the wet effects on the Volante and the Mercury 7, and we will let that kind of decay our way out into tomorrow. Good Lord, immediately. The loop is really great. Yeah, see, Intrepid, thank you. Thank you. Also, I'm like mentally bracing for the like super loud sound that comes in when his super chat comes through. It almost makes me want to stop at, oh my God, it's so loud. It's so loud. I always feel like I should be ready for it, and I never am. Yeah, like we had this loop going at an octave up from here almost the entire night, and it's much cooler the way it is right now. Although it's not very loud, which we can fix. Oh my God, we ran our entire night with my 1073 turned off. I apologize. That is horrifying. There we go. That sounds better. Pure joy. Dude, enjoy the kid. Mine's 1. He's the best he's ever been. He's the hardest he's ever been. So enjoy when he's just like a swaddleable potato. So have a good night, man. Jan, thank you so much. Welcome from America, California specifically, to you in Germany. That's super cool. Hope you enjoy. Hope you stick around. We have a lot of fun here. We've got a deep dive on the microcosm coming soon. Yeah. I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. Like I just insinuated with Pure Joy as he was leaving. My son just turned 1. And I am just now getting to a point for the first time in a year where my kind of like week-to-week hours that I can spend on stuff like this is starting to kind of climb again. And I'm really excited for the amount of like stuff I can put into this channel. So there's more streaming, more daytime streaming and late night streaming like this, as well as more demos, more reviews, and more kind of like just kind of concept videos, like things that I think are exciting that I want to dig into, that kind of thing. So welcome, enjoy, and thank you for being here. So for the love of music is asking about the Benson germanium fuzz, if there's any benefits to that over the Chase Plus Audio Mark II. So the Mark II is the Benson preamp with the Chase Plus Condors mid-range section and a fuzz in the front. The fuzz cares a lot about your guitar's impedance. So here's the benefit: is the fuzz in the Mark II cares a lot about the impedance of your guitar. And so it gets shitty a lot faster if you put buffers in front of it and a bunch of other stuff in front of it, that kind of thing. The whole point of the Benson fuzz is that you have that impedance knob, that it functions as a pickup simulator so that you don't have to deal with that. And that's what I really like about it. It also has some really amazing glassy clean tones that I really fell in love with, and I think that I kind of called a lot of stark attention to in my video on that pedal. If you're looking for very, very kind of like present clean tone and or very, very evident fuzz, I would buy the Benson fuzz, the Benson Germanium fuzz. If you want a drive pedal, something that does preamping and overdrive and rail distortion, basically being able to push certain frequencies so hard that they distort specifically within that frequency, I would go with the Preamp Mark II because I think that it's very versatile and I think that it sounds great. I'm using the Benson Preamp on this board mostly because I don't have room for the Preamp Mark II on this rig. I also just think that they sound slightly different, and I for some applications I like the Benson Preamp Mark I more than I like the Benson Preamp Mark II. For direct-in rigs, I tend to like the preamp, and for tube rigs, I massively prefer the Mark II. So when I go to that aforementioned wet rig where I have the Harmony amp as my middle channel, I will be jumping back to the Benson Preamp Mark II because nothing beats it for that kind of thing. Jesse wants to know, hold on. Yeah, so Jesse wants to know how I post-process my guitar. So right now I'm using two things. It gets a little more involved when I'm mixing in my DAW. This is not at all awkward. This like weird awkward hand over the chair. Whatever. So right now we are using a Neve 1073 preamp in. So I guess I should back up slightly. I record into my Apollo Twin right here. So everything's being processed in Universal Audio's console right now. I do all my recording for my stuff in Universal Audio's Luna DAW. But in console, you can actually use a bunch of latency-free, basically nearly zero latency plugins, compressors, reverbs, drives, honestly, whatever, choruses. I use, on my voice right now, I'm using on my voice and my guitar, I'm using a Neve 1073 preamp and an LA2A compressor from Teletronics. So, for my guitar, let's turn those two things off and see what happens. So this is my guitar completely dry from the pedal board going into my DAW. Not even my DAW, just my interface. Okay, let's bring in the 1073. So you can hear some kind of like basically just volume and a little bit of color from the concept of a 1073 being programmed by Universal Audio. And then what I also do is I have an EQ on that 1073. It's basically just a little bit of a treble boost, a tiny bit of low mids cut, and then a low pass filter at 50 hertz, because I think that anything below 50 hertz on a guitar is garbage, and it's just nice to just cut it off to prevent it from happening. So let's turn on that EQ, and you just heard a little bit of sizzle come in, and a little bit of definition at the low end come in. And now let's bring in our Teletronics LA2A compressor. You hear a lot of volume come in there. We're actually not compressing very hard right now because the loops coming out of the microcosm just aren't that hot. But if we start pushing the ACS a little bit harder, you will start to hear that compressor hit. So let's turn up the ACS 1 just to kind of like showcase this. Roll back the treble on the 1073 a little bit. And now we're starting to actually hit that compressor a little bit. And I love the presence that a 2A kind of offers us. So like an 1176 will be very, those guitars are coming in very hot right now. Like an 1176 will offer us a lot of preampy low end kind of like color and body. So like the Cu22 is an 1176 compressor, and you can hear the color offered by that. The Teletronics 2A just kind of boosts and smooths. What's funny is the Universal Audio 2A is very subtle in the way that it does things. It's volume and its dynamics. The Waves Audio LA2A actually has a lot more preamp color to it in a very different way. It's kind of its own modern classic. We're gonna turn down the gain on the 2A just to get rid of some of that kind of like high-end hiss. So yeah, so AATT, whatever your name is, you're impronounceable. We are talking, yeah, we're specifically talking DAW compressors, and my love of using 2A. I use a 2A on almost everything in my mixing. Like when I'm mixing for work, vocals, drums, keys, guitars, bass, I'm using a 2A on almost everything. On my pedal board, the Cu22 is an 1176 style compressor, and I really dig that. It can be a little aggressive, I will say that. Hey, I started on GarageBand. I loved GarageBand, and if it was up to me, I would still be using GarageBand, but then Apple fundamentally overhauled GarageBand and made it incompatible with my workflow. They basically destroyed the ability to use external VSTs, and that was the end of it for me. The moment I couldn't use like Waves plugins, I had to leave. Also, AAYY, whatever your name is, can you just be like John or something? It's so much easier for me as a streamer to kind of like be able to talk to you. I'm glad that you came in kind of at the great point of talking compressors. I also have terrible news that this is the end of the stream because it's 12:15 here and I have to be up early. So we're about to be done. Okay, so Jesse, your thing will be about Addy. Addy is easy. I like that. Also, I would earnestly recommend Addy starting with the Compressor Mark II. I think that this is not only a really good compressor, but what I love about it is it's like dead transparent. Like this thing does not color your signal at all. So the Origin is a 1176 style compressor. The Diamond is an optical compressor, and I popped a foot out of the Empress. This is the most transparent compressor I have ever played. It has a tone knob on it, but if you notch it at noon, it is super transparent. It is so fucking great. It's really good. It's really, really excellent for, I want playing dynamics smoothed out. I don't want a lot of color added. The 1176, aka the Cu22 from Origin, is very preampy. It's very squashy. It's really great. I love it. Especially for my Mustang. I think that it does really high value stuff. But if you're looking to get into compression, I would either start with the Diamond compressor or the Empress Mark II. If you know a little bit about compression already, get the Empress. If you know nothing but you just want a compressor to start on, get the Diamond. Thank you, Tony. I have bad news. I'm terrible with names. I'm not even good with faces, but I'm really bad with names, so I'm gonna lose that very fast. But I would hope this is a safe space, considering how much time I talk on these streams, just kind of trashing on companies that I work with and generally like, but am comfortable being critical of things that I feel are worthy of criticism. So yeah, Jesse, that's basically where I landed. Is the Diamond compressor. I got lucky. I bought my Diamond compressor from a dude in San Francisco who I bought it for $50 because he thought it was broken and it wasn't. But he thought it was broken and drove out to San Francisco, bought it for $50. And to get the box for the compressor, he had to go into his closet and like dig past his various like pot plants in his grow farm to get the box for the Diamond compressor, which I love. But so yeah, I got my Diamond for $50, like fucking 10 years ago or something like that, and it still remains one of my favorite pedals. I think it's great. I use the Cu22 specifically because I use my Mustang, and I think the preampy vibe of the 1176 works really well with low output pickups, but I think it squashes really quickly on my Jennings and my Harmony and stuff. And for those higher output guitars, I like the Empress compressor. And then for kind of everything in the middle, my Strat, my Tele, my Jaguar, that kind of thing, I still don't think there's any reason to go anything past the Diamond compressor because it's simple and it's easy and it sounds great. Yeah, Addy, if you get the Empress, I don't think you'll be sad about it. And it's also really helpful because you have access to that input and that output, which will let you kind of like learn how compression is generated. You have your attack and release, which is just a game of kind of like guess and check and figure out what works well for you. You have your mix, which allows you to kind of like never get too far away. And then the fact that you have your input and your reduction as like LEDs that like spike up. This is like, I mean, if you don't want to learn about compression, the Diamond is the way to go because it just sounds great. But if you want to know compression and you want to find a safe, attainable way to get into it, I do think that the Empress compressor is probably your best bet. I have never watched a Peter McKinnon thing ever. You are not the first or the 100th person to make that comparison, but like, I only know that he is vaguely a videographer, and that's all I know. Maybe he's a vlogger, but I hear it. So I hear it less because I almost never have my hair up like this. Because apparently this is a beauty vlogger channel now, and I'm gonna talk about my hair. But like, I never put my hair up anymore, and so when I stopped tying my hair up, I stopped getting Peter McKinnon references. But God, I tie it up for one stream, and somebody's got to come in with a Peter McKinnon like comparisons. That's great. How did I dive into ambient? On accident. I was in I mean, I've always loved delay and reverb. They've always been the most interesting effects to me. I was in a dream pop band. I was using a lot of delay and reverb in that band, but playing kind of in a band context. The band, I could see the writing on the wall. The band was getting ready to end, and I needed something that I could do to keep kind of putting music out. And I didn't know how to produce. I was a garbage singer. I still mostly am. And I just needed a space where I could keep making stuff. And so I leaned really hard into instrumental guitar. And that kind of, and I'm not a shredder, and I don't enjoy shreddy music, and I don't want to be a guitar player who focuses all on chops. I've always wanted to be a tone and atmosphere and kind of vibe-based guitar player, musician in general. And so I just kind of stumbled into this space because of that stuff. Like, I loved Sigur Rós. I had watched a bunch of Andy Offling's kind of formative videos, and I got really into like Old Blood Noise and Walrus and Chase Bliss and that kind of thing. And I just kind of stumbled into this space. And it's very funny because, I mean, ignoring what's happening on the loop right now, I don't actually consider myself to be a very ambient guitar player. Like, in the modern context, a lot of ambient guitar these days is very drone focused, very like full wet mix, full kind of just like spacey, you know, you never hear the guitar, you just hear the reverb channels. And I don't really play like that. If you watch any of my videos, I don't really have that approach. I feel like I'm much more, to me, in my mind, I land closer to something in between Sigur Rós and like Warpaint than I do proper ambient, sarcastic air quotes. But, you know, I get classified as ambient, and that's fine because I do enjoy it. Especially my early stuff on Instagram before I was even doing stuff on YouTube, that was like, you know, mix at 90, decay at 95, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, if you're going for like the Wolf, for like a really quacky, squashy stuff, you gotta buy a Strat and some sort of like hyper aggressive compressor. There's nothing that can be done with the Diamond. The reason I loved the Diamond for so long, and the reason that I still love it, is because you can't overdo it. You keep the tone knob at noon, volume at noon, and the compression anywhere between 0 and noon, and you are dialed no matter what. You are never going to hurt your tone, especially if you finger pick like I do. Stumbled into ambient greatness. Yeah, no, stumbled into middling success in the ambient space, which I'm fine with. Like, I don't know who here is a Patreon supporter of me. Let's see if I can get this right. Is it over here? No, that's my Instagram. My Patreon on this side. Look at me. Look at me being like a consummate professional, knowing how to point at things. God, it's so far down. Whatever. I went too far on that one. The video's on like a weirdly long delay right now. I completely lost my train of thought trying to point at my Patreon. Go watch my Patreon like intro on this channel. You will hear me awkwardly try to justify having a Patreon because I do not feel like I am anything other than just like a random dude who happens to kind of just like work with some companies. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything out of the ordinary here. I don't feel like I'm doing anything other than what I really am doing right here, which is being surrounded by a bunch of like $30 Amazon lights with a pedal board full of stuff that I just kind of like happened to get to like demo. It all feels very weird, very kind of like accidental, but I really love it. Like, the whole reason I started doing the Instagram thing was because I needed an outlet to kind of like nerd out about music stuff after a band ended, and then it just kind of spiraled. That's it. I distinctly remember having a conversation early on going, if I can grow this, maybe I can make an expensive hobby slightly less expensive. And that was like my ultimate goal in the whole thing, was like, if I can get some companies to give me a discount, then I will be happy, because guitar pedals cost a lot of money and I don't make very much money. And so if I can make those two things, I'll be good. And then here we are like 4 years later, and I still have a full-time job, and I still do freelance like commercial work and freelance video work, but I'm also spending a astonishing amount of time doing video content for guitar stuff because I love it. Yeah, no, Addy, that's the thing. Andy is the modern godfather of ambient guitar. There is no getting around it. We talked about this on the last stream. Andy is responsible for the current generation of ambient guitar. I don't think you can get around that. Okay, so really quickly, the DISO Plus, I think it's super high value because I am running my volume on my ACS1 very low, and I used to have to crank the volume on my Iridium, which is already a notoriously loud pedal, to work with my DI. I think that the DISO, which is a line isolator, hence the name DISO Plus, is Dual Line Isolator Plus. I think it's really, really high value. I think it's amazing. I have a Johnston, or not a Johnston, a radial DI right behind the camera in the closet right now that I used for years, that I thought was like an amazing high quality DI, and then I switched over to this and it was game over. Like, a traditional DI reduces your volume very heavily, and this does not, and it allows you to just kind of like push everything at the volumes that you want it to without having to kind of like artificially increase your volume. I used to play live with the Iridium a lot with a regular DI, and I used to get front of house guys constantly going, hey, like, can you send me any more volume? And I was gain at noon, which is slightly higher than I wanted it to be. And this is not a joke. I was running volume at 3/4 of the way up, like 3 o'clock on the knob, too high. And then I switched to the ACS1, which is a much quieter pedal than the Iridium is. And then Pinstripe was kind enough to send me the DISO Plus, and it was a game changer. It really was. It's there's nothing else to say about it. It sounds great, but it also just it passes your signal through at a volume that allows you to kind of like set things where you want them to be set. I was pushing my Iridium so loud, and then also running my Neve 1073 thing at like 50 on the mic side of the dB meter. And now I'm serious right now. I am running it at 35. And that's high for me. If I started playing guitar, you would hear that the guitar is way too loud right now. You hear that it's clipping, but it's also compressed as hell. That's because the 2A is like I mean, the Teletronics is getting smashed by that because it's going through way too hot. Yeah, I think the DISO Plus is great. I think it allows you to set everything on your board where you want it to be set, which is what I want. Okay, so this will be the last question of the night. For the love of music, because it's 30 and I seriously have to work tomorrow, and I've been drinking whiskey since 9 o'clock. The question is basically any tips for trying to grow a channel, kind of just starting out, that kind of thing. And it's a hard question because I'm friends with a lot of people on Instagram who I think are much better musicians than me, who I think write better music than me, who did not grow like I grew in the space. And so it's tough. It's tough to give advice on this kind of thing because I think that a lot of it is luck. I think a lot of it is just that, and weird algorithmic stuff. Like, I remember a segment a few years ago on Instagram where if I played my Johnny Marr Jaguar, this guitar right here, if I had this guitar in the thumbnail of a video, it would do like 20,000, 30,000 views when I had like 6,000 followers. And if I used my Strat, it would do like 2,000. It is the weirdest thing. It felt so, I got so obsessed with trying to track weird things like guitars equating to like follower numbers. The algorithmic stuff is insane. It felt like the kind of thing that excluded me from being able to have conversations about what it means to be successful in the space. I'm gonna put this down really quick. But I think there's a lot of it that you don't have control over. I think that you have to just try. And I will say this. I came in at a very specific time. I came in specifically just on Instagram. I know that there's a lot of people here who know people just from YouTube. And this is something that I have kind of like been shocked to learn through conversations on my Patreon. Shameless plug. Of people who are on my Patreon who only know me from YouTube. And that earnestly confused me because just to talk numbers for a second, we've got about 8,300 or so here on this channel on YouTube. I have 15,000 over on YouTube and then or on Instagram, sorry. And I also run the Ambient Notes page with Brian, which is like 47,000, peaked out at like 53,000. And so I assumed that all of my notoriety, all of anybody who knew me from Instagram. And that's only a tangent to say that, like, I built my audience over on Instagram, and I assumed that all of my clout came from there. And the reason that I did well on Instagram, and this is, I think that this is somewhat true, is a couple of factors. One was I was putting my face in all my videos, and I think that there was, and it's not just because I'm so incredibly hot. That joke does not land because it's just not funny. It's because you could recognize me. You could see me in a thumbnail and immediately know who I was, which allows people to kind of like build that connection. And two is when I started posting stuff, it was during an era where I would find pedal builders that I was really interested in hearing from and hearing gear from. And a lot of the demos were literally just, it was somebody built their pedal board, they recorded a bunch of stuff, they do a ditto looper that was playing through the amp, and they just held up their phone and pointed it at their pedal board and at their amp and just recorded it on their phone and then posted it on Instagram. And I was like, this is not helpful. Like, the biggest audience you will ever have access to in your life is the internet. Like, this is the most people you can reach as an artist. And you're going to make your best foot forward filming audio and video on your cell phone. Like, you're playing $1,000 guitar, a $1,700 pedal board, and a $1,200 amplifier, and you're gonna film it on your phone. Sell one of your 17 transparent overdrives and buy a goddamn SM57 and record it properly. That was kind of how I felt at the time. And I put and as a result, I got very old man get off my lawn about recording quality on Instagram. And I just kind of like leaned super hard into this idea that like if I'm going to put stuff on Instagram, if I'm going to put stuff out for an audience, I need to be aspiring to be better every time I put something out. And that was the whole point. For a long time, my Instagram profile bio thing, it was iterating towards greatness, which was somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But the idea was, if you're going to commit to releasing things to an audience over an extended period of time, you should be hoping to get better every single time. And also, you should be trying to represent yourself in the best way you can. And so for me, the big thing was filming well, editing well, and recording and mixing well. And that's still not something that you see a ton. Like, there are still successful demo channels on YouTube that do not record their stuff well. Things don't sound good. You listen back and you kind of like, you watch a demo and go, how does anybody think this sounds good? How does anybody think this like represents something well? I have trashed demos like that I have recorded because I didn't think that it was like a proper like best foot forward situation. So I think that a big piece of this is luck. I think a big piece of this is the fact that I was getting really, really obsessive about video quality and audio quality on Instagram before anybody else really was. I was weirdly at the front of, I was behind, I'm behind on YouTube stuff by a million years. I'm behind on streaming by a million years. But like, for me specifically, I felt like I was really, really out ahead on Instagram. Instagram on Apple devices, iOS devices, was only posting mono audio for years. And I started using a program on my laptop called Flume that would allow me to post to Instagram in stereo audio. So for like 2 years, I was only posting to Instagram from my laptop because it allowed me to post the proper left-right mixes that I was mixing in the first place in my DAW. And so I think, I don't know, I guess it's two pieces. It's get lucky, and it's just care so much about what you're doing, just care so much about the things that are important to you. And that was the thing for me, was I was so old man get off my lawn about audio quality on Instagram, on the platform that I cared about, that it just kind of connected. It just kind of worked. It just kind of made that thing happen. And as a result, even though I only had like my first real NAMM show, I only had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers at the time. But I showed up, and like a lot of the builders there knew who I was. Joel from Chase Plus Audio came up, gave me a hug. I was expecting to have to come up and introduce myself, and Joel came up and gave me a big hug and was like, dude, it's so good to meet you. Like, I've been really enjoying your stuff and all that. And I was astounded. But, you know, Instagram was important, was and is, but at the time especially was important for our space. And a lot of people were not trying very hard on that space. And I was multi-tracking all of my stuff, and it made me stand out. So if you're gonna try in this space, it's hard because it's saturated. And but you know, I found my way in, and I'm not a good guitar player. So like, if I can do this, there's hope for anybody. You just have to find the thing that you care about that somebody else is not currently caring about. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just figure out what you are passionate about that nobody else is, and lean super hard into that. Okay, it's like almost 1 a.m. here, and I have to be up very early. So we're gonna call it. We're gonna crank up the delay and the reverb. We're gonna hit the little end card thing because I have an end card because I'm a goddamn professional. Thank you guys. For those of you who stuck around for like almost the whole thing, which is a few of you, which is amazing. Like, sincerely, thank you. For those of you who just jumped in for a piece of it, like, really, really awesome of you to show up. We're gonna try to do these more often. And I really like just kind of getting to play guitar, nerd out about the board, and just kind of talk gear and kind of gear theory and our I care a lot about our subculture. It's a weird, very specific, small subculture, but I think that it has the ability to have a lot of really cool impact, because some really, really impressive and beautiful artists use the stuff that we get to kind of have a hand in, and I love that. So yeah, I will say this, here at the end of this thread, this rant and this stream, I will say I kind of like unlist these videos once they're done. I make them private, and then specifically for these ones, these like late night happy hour streams where we go a little bit ham. So if you want to rewatch any of this, I have a Patreon, as you can tell from the bottom left hand corner of this screen. It's $5 a month or whatever you want to spend on it. But it's, you know, the minimum is $5. I do monthly ambient record compilation releases. We're coming up on the second one this week, as well as access to kind of individual stems of the music I release, behind the scenes stuff, and also a Discord where a bunch of cool people hang out and talk gear stuff and gear music stuff and life stuff and everything. So if you've enjoyed kind of like the more conversational portion of tonight, all of that happens over on the Discord, and you can be a part of that by joining the Patreon, which is in the description down below. My dog is getting into his paws. I gotta go to bed. Let's crank that delay and repeat. The repeats and the decay on the reverb. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. This is really fun. I'm so glad we get to start earlier tonight and really get some like solid quality time. I'm sorry that I keep kicking this fucking light in front of me. Yeah. Oh, and those of you who like donated tonight, like sent me like super chats and donated some money and everything, like so cool. Like it's, if you go back on the channel and watch my my Patreon announcement video, you'll see how uncomfortable I am talking about like money in exchange for this. So for those of you who are doing it, thank you. And I appreciate it so much, and it's all very awkward for me, and I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to just kind of like, I'm trying to lean into it. I'm trying to lean into the idea that if I want to do stuff like this with more of my week, that the Patreon and sponsored content and donations are all a part of being able to kind of like exist as a musician in an inherently capitalist environment. So like, for enabling that, thank you very much. And I'll see you sometime next week, or I'll see you on the Patreon. Thank you guys. Let's hit the button.